Hi, everyone. In this training, we're going to be covering how to add special education records using online maintenance within CALPADS. You may also hear us refer to online maintenance as OM. That's just the acronym, OM, online maintenance. Essentially, that just means that you're adding manually or modifying manually within CALPADS. The records that we will be covering are the student with disability status, which is your SWIDS file, special education meeting, which is your MEET file, special education plans, which is your plan file, and special education services, which is your serve file. All these are the new file types that were created this year for the SPED redesign. In order to be able to modify these records, you will need to have the SPED edit role within CALPADS. Most of you that are in the special education world and that do the special education file submissions already have the SPED edit role because you need it in order to be able to send files from your SEDS through the API to CALPADS. So if you are able to make those file submissions, then you already have the SPED edit role and you don't need to worry about it. If you are a SELPA user, you will need to make sure that the specific LEAs give you LEA access with that SPED edit role in order for you to be able to modify these records or add new records within CALPADS. You'll also notice that we have these two last containers here, student special education and student special education services. These two containers are informational only. They will have historical records from 2019 through last year, 22-23 academic year. These will have your quote unquote old SPED files. So this would be the SPED file, this would be the SSRV file. You cannot modify, nor can you add or delete any of these records. These are, again, historical for informational purposes only. Now, a lot of the times we get asked why or under what circumstances would we need to add or edit directly within CALPADS instead of using the API? That's a great point because the whole reason why we wouldn't allow edits or modifications to our prior special education containers was because we wanted the SED system to be the source of all truth. And any changes that were made or needed to be made should come straight from your SEDS vendor through the API. That is still true today, right? We still require that all changes that are made manually within CALPADS are first done or are also captured within your SED system. Your local systems should always be the source of all truth, and CALPADS should only be a mirror of whatever your local systems have. You would need to use online maintenance for instances where, for example, the record was not submitted through the API because of technical difficulties. For whatever reason, the API either rejected the change because there's a bug within the system, either on the SED side or our CALPADS side, or for whatever reason, there was a change that just was created within your SEDS, but it was missed within CALPADS. And it is just simply easier to make the change manually within CALPADS. Another reason, and this is a really common scenario, is because you need to create records from a prior academic year. Your SED systems have been built so that they only generate the new file types for records that started this academic year, 2023, moving forward. However, there are instances in which you'll need to create meetings, for example, or plan records that were effective in last year. And so you are only able to make those additions or modifications to those records using online maintenance. A lot of the special education people are not familiar with how to navigate through CALPADS and how to get to this page, or if you're new to CALPADS and you're unfamiliar with how to create or make modifications using OM, this is a training for you. So how did I get to this page? When you go into CALPADS, you will go straight into the home page. Now, for purposes of this demonstration, I am under an LEA. You'll notice up here, I have ABC Unified. If you are a SELPA user, you will need to make sure to select the LEA in which you will be making the modifications or additions to. So again, I'm under ABC Unified. What you'll need is the student's SSID. You can come over to the left-hand side navigation tree. You'll see there's a quick search. Under here, there's a student SSID search bar. Go ahead and paste the SSID on this search bar and click on the green arrow. This page is a student details page. Every single student that has an SSID has a student details page. It doesn't matter if the student is a private school student, if the student is an NPS student, if the student is a preschool student that doesn't actually go to your school and is just enrolled for evaluation purposes. So long as the student has an SSID, they will have a student details page. In this case, we have Phoebe Buffet. This is the student that we'll be working with today for our demonstration purposes. Now, again, you scroll down to our special education containers, our 4 files here, and you can click on any one of them, and it will expand to show you the actual records within each container. One thing that's really important to note is that you will only be able to make modifications to the files or the records that belong to your district. Again, in this demonstration, I am under ABC Unified, and therefore I can only make modifications to ABC Unified's records. If I were to try to open up Fresno Unified's records, I can see it. However, I cannot do anything with it. Even though CalPADS gives me drop downs or lets me enter dates on here, there is nothing for me to save. There's nothing for me to post. I literally can't do anything with this record because it doesn't belong to me. It belongs to Fresno. Therefore, it's very important, again, if you're a SELPA user, that you are in the actual district, or if you're not a SELPA user, but you manage multiple districts, that you're under the district that you want to make modifications for. For purposes of this training, I'm going to pretend that the student has incorrect data for the status. This student actually should be eligible and participating, but for some reason, that record never made its way over from my SEDS. However, again, the SEDS is my source of all truth, and in my SEDS, the student has an active IEP. And so what I want to do is modify this record because the student should be eligible and participating starting August 15th. So what I'll need to do is click Open. And you'll notice off the top, you have options now. You can either delete this record, you can cancel, which just means that it's going to close the pop-up window, or you can post the change. You'll also notice that even though this is my record, this record is from ABC Unified, I cannot make modifications to all of my fields. Some fields are grayed out. The grayed out fields represent primary keys, which make this record unique. CalPADS will not let you edit this field, even though it belongs to your district. You submitted this record. Let's say, for example, that I wanted to make modifications to the status effective start date because the student should have started on August 20th, not the 15th. In that scenario, I would need to delete this record entirely and recreate a new record using the correct status effective start date. For purposes, again, of this demonstration, the change that I need to make is on open fields. So what I need to do is change the status code to eligible and participating. And I also need to remove this non-participation reason code because the student is actually participating. So I'm going to leave this blank. If I post this record, CALPADS is giving me an error right off the bat. CALPADS does initial validations that may prevent you from posting the record. And it's just saying, hey, just at a quick glance, there's something wrong with the information that you've changed. In this case, CALPADS is saying you're missing that initial entry start date. Well, I will come to this initial entry start date and I am going to enter, let's just say student started August 15th and post. Now I see that I have this green message here that says success. An update has been made to the system. However, if I look at my record, the record hasn't been updated at all. And that is a little deceiving, right? What this success message means, it just means that a job has been created for me. And it's asking me to go to the file submission details screen to see the status of my job. If you were to open this up in a new tab, and the reason why I say new tab is so that you don't have to toggle, you can just toggle back to your student details page. You don't have to lose this page. You will see here that a new job was created. It was an online job for the status container for this student, right? This is Phoebe Buffet. The key field here is this file status. This file status will show you if the job is being validated, if the job has posted. Posted means that it was successfully done and your changes actually took place. This is what you want. Or it can say rejected. In the event that your file gets rejected, you have to scroll down under File Errors and review the errors that were generated for your change. This is CALPADS doing a second pass of validations to make sure that the changes you're making aren't creating other errors within the system. If they do have errors, then you have to review those errors and make the corrections, try again, and post. In this case, my job posted successfully, which means that I can come back and refresh my screen. And I will be able to see the change take place. So now I see that my ABC Unified record from 815 has an eligible and participating status. Now, to add a record, you will open up the container that you want to add, and under the right-hand side, you will see Add New Record under each tab. Again, you have to have the SPED edit role in order for you to be able to see this button available. If you click Add New Record, let's pretend that we want to show that this student had a plan review and a reevaluation done. And again, my SED system has that information in there. It's just that it's not making its way through, right? You add a new record, and you will see there are some fields that are already pre-populated for you. In this case, the system knows that this is the SID that we want to create a record for because we're under Phoebe's student details page. It knows the student local ID and it knows the reporting LEA because I'm under this LEA. There are other fields, however, that have an asterisk that are not populated. This asterisk represents required fields, and you need to make sure that you're at least at the very minimum populating these fields for each record that you're trying to add. In this case, we're just going to say test, but again, this information is in your SEDS. And so if you were to do this manually, you would literally just be copying whatever is already in your SED system into CALPADS. Under the reporting SELPA, you will only see the SELPAs that are associated with your district. There are some districts that have multiple SELPAs, in which case all available SELPAs will be listed. In this case, I only have one SELPA associated with my district, and so that's the one I will choose. There are two fields that are very important here, which is the meeting date and the pending as of date. You will populate one or the other. You cannot populate both, right? Either the meeting was held, in which case the pending doesn't need to be populated because it was actually held. There's no pending meeting. Or the meeting is actually pending. And we get this question a lot. How do I show CalPADS that a meeting is pending? You would come in here, give us a meet record with the pending date populated. Let's pretend is pending as of today, 2024. And you would leave the meeting date blank. Now, in this case, for this demonstration, the meeting is not pending. We actually did have a reevaluation and a plan review for this student, and we're going to say that it happened today. The meeting delay code does not need to be populated because the meeting was held in a timely manner. The meeting evaluation type code is necessary. And here you will see there are these three options: Part B initial, Part D initial, or a reevaluation. We have a lot of tickets that ask, how can I show that a plan review was held? Well, with the SPED redesign, we put the plan review under a different field. It is now here under plan review indicator. And so if you were to tell us that this meeting was a plan review, yes, then you can also tell us that this meeting was a reevaluation. If the meeting was only a reevaluation, then you can just set the plan review activity to no. Or vice versa, if the meeting was only a plan review, you would say yes here and leave this blank. In this example, we are saying that this meeting was both a reevaluation and a plan review. So both of these will be populated. And the evaluation was that students still eligible. You also have the parental involvement facilitation code. And another thing that also comes into our service desk all the time is the academic year and how it relates to the meeting date. So there are times, like I mentioned, when you're going to have to create records for prior years. So let's pretend that this meeting was held in 2022. The academic year will default to this academic year, but you need to make sure that the academic year selected corresponds to the meeting date or the pending as of date. In this case, 4/10/2022 falls within the 21-22 academic year. And so this is the academic year that we'd be selecting should this be the meeting date, right? But again, for purposes of this demonstration, we're going to just keep it simple. This happened this year, 23-24. It was a reevaluation and a plan review held on today's date, 4/10/2024. Student continued their eligibility, and now we post. Again, we have this green message that says that it has been posted successfully, but as we mentioned earlier, this just means that the job has posted successfully, and we are waiting to see what the status details shows us. The good thing about the status details page is that it's fairly fast. You'll notice here again, we have the job ID, we have the fact that it's an online manual change for PB Buffet. For the meet record, the file status is staged. This just means that it barely just made its way into CalPADS. CalPADS is still considering it. We don't have to wait very long though. If we refresh the screen, there we go. It takes less than a minute and you should see your file status, whether posted or rejected, right? Again, this says posted, which means that we should see our file updates or our creation of our meet record available immediately. We'll go over to our meet record. Sure enough, here we go. ABC Unified. There was a reevaluation and a plan review held for this student on April 10th, 2024. In the event that you wanted to get more clarification, for example, if you were to have seen file errors down here that you were unsure how to clear, or if you had validation errors when you were trying to post or the record, you can come up here to our left-hand side navigation under Help. You have User Manual. The user manual will open up a new tab and it will take you to our home page for our user manual. Under Help, you have Troubleshooting. This will give you a list of every single validation that CALPADS has, whether that be for a specific file type or for a specific submission. A cool tip and trick, if you know the error that you're trying to troubleshoot, is you can do Control S and you can type in the actual meat error that you're trying to investigate a little further. And then you'll be able to click on a particular error and it'll take you to the screen, which will show you not just the severity level, but it will also show you if there are any active defects, the error description for an error, what fields are validated within the error, and a suggested resolution. Additional information may also include YouTube video in some instances. Whenever there's regular error that comes up, our trainers are very good about creating that YouTube videos that will show you how to resolve the error. So take a look at that if it's available within that particular error. If after reviewing all this information, you still have questions or are unsure of how to go forward, you can create a ticket from this screen. So again, in order to make modifications to an existing record using online maintenance, you simply come to the container, open up the specific file or record that you're trying to make modifications to. It has to be within your LEA, and then you'll be able to post that modification. If you wanted to add a new record, you would click on the upper right-hand corner, Add New Record, populate the required fields, and post.